Alright, we're live. Let's see. Are we good? Okay, everything sounds good. Alright! Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Injection. You know what that means. Zach does the intro, not me. So you're going to get the half-assed intro today. But we're here. We got the Pro Wrestling Injection. What's up, y'all? That's right. I forgot about that. I wish I didn't know who I was, but it's it happens. Anyway, we have a lot to get into tonight. We had Fright Night, Dynamite.
Oh my god, you're coming across so goddamn loud.
I forgot about that. I'll turn myself down, hopefully. Let's see.
I'm listening to the stream, making sure everything's good, and then I'm getting both audio tracks, and I'm just like, why is my headset so fucking loud?
Let's see.
And it was not the volume.
Let's see if this works. Is this better?
I feel like you need to put me slightly louder.
Let's see.
Like a lot lower.
Okay, let me see. User volume. Talk again?
Let's see if this works. Gotta love the delay in stream.
It happens.
From the actual Discord call.
Okay, let me see.
And I'm still not up to that on the stream.
Talk again?
Jesus. Hello, everyone. Hi, how are you?
It happens. I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
Actually, I know a way to fix this. Alright, let's see.
Always just, move the mic.
Alright, I think this should be better. Hello. Actually, I know a way to fix this.
When, in 20 seconds when I actually
We got it.
listen to this back.
Can't hear Meg. Nah, I got it, Zach. Yeah, I can see now. I can see the problem. Okay, I think it's better now. You can check now.
When, in 20 seconds when I actually
We got it.
listen to this back.
Can't hear Meg. Nah, yeah, I can see
Oh
now.
my
I can
god.
see the problem. Alright, I got it. Yeah, we got it. Alright. So, we had Fright Night, Dynamite, and this was pretty good. But first, we're going to get into the Nizoos. We're going to get into the news first. And to be honest, we have a lot, but it's not very positive, not very fun. Not very good things that we have to report on today, which sadly happens in the wrestling business. But we have three separate injury stories that we have to talk about. And first off, we'll talk about El Hijo del Vikingo, who just really returned from injury. He had a lengthy injury. He was gone for about 6-7 months due to injury. And at the TNA tapings last weekend, he unfortunately, it looked like he sustained a knee injury, which it didn't look good from the video I saw. I thought it was his ankle from the video, but ended up being his knees on crutches. So Vikingo's going to be out for an extended period of time again, which sucks. But get well soon to him. But yeah, you hate to see something like that. We also had El Phantasmo. He's going to be taking an indefinite leave from professional wrestling in New Japan for the foreseeable future because he put out a statement earlier this week saying that his doctor found a small tumor of cancer within him. He did clarify that he's not worried and he's not. It might not be a major thing, but still, obviously, you got to take care of that. So my best wishes to El Phantasmo and his recovery.
Same.
But the major one was from the TNA tapings the next day after Vikingo got hurt, and that was one Chris Bay. Chris Bay, if you don't know, he is been in TNA for the past couple of years now. I think he's he's one of the most underrated wrestlers in the world. He's fantastic. He's been tagging with Ace Austin, who's another one of the most underrated guys in the world, as the team ABC, because both men are in the Bullet Club. They represent the Bullet Club in TNA. Jay actually put in Chris Bay back during the pandemic days into the Bullet Club. But it was ABC versus the Hardys, and there was a move gone wrong where Chris Bay was said to be knocked out cold, and the match and then the show was stopped altogether due to the injury. We found out that he didn't just get knocked out. He sustained a very, very serious neck injury. We don't really know more than that, although besides what's it called? Hold on, this thing's popping up. Besides him, he put out a statement saying thank you for all the well wishes. Thank you. It's being kept private about what's been going on, but yeah. It was a horrible, horrible thing to hear about for such a talented and underrated guy. I mean, they're raising money for him, because obviously, I mean, he's in TNA. He's not like he's like making AEW, WWE money. So they started a GoFundMe for him. It's already raised $77,800. And the names that have donated to the guy, it's really cool to see. Adam Copeland is the top donor with $10,000. Scott D'Amore, Matt Hardy, Karrion Kross, Chris Jericho, Cody Rhodes, Nick Nemeth, Fightful, Will Ospreay, Matt Cardona, QT Marshall, Jonathan Gresham, Jordan Grace, just a bunch of names. Mercedes Moné donating, and they're doing an auction for him. TNA is, and they're going to be selling merchandise to raise funds for him. But yeah, I really hope for the best for Chris Bay, because it's going to be a long road to recovery, long road to at least quality of life. Again, we still don't know the specifics of the injury, but if it's this bad and what they're doing, and they're doing what they're doing, you could probably tell that this is going to be a lengthy recovery for Chris Bay. So I look forward to when we see him again, and I hope he could come back from this. So prayers out to Chris Bay. But in other news, which was actually pretty cool news, we got an announcement from New Japan that Kenny Omega will be making an appearance at their next pay-per-view, Power Struggle, in November. And they just released today. I haven't been able to watch it yet because I had to work and then I had to come watch the show. But they released an interview with Kenny Omega, and it was posted today. He talked about what he wants to do for Wrestle Dynasty, because he's probably going to be back by then. And certain stuff that happened on this show makes me think that he's going to be back sooner rather than later. But yeah, it was cool to see. That was pretty awesome. So
now that makes a little more sense.
Yeah. So very excited to see Kenny come back soon. And
yes, I've been waiting for him to come back. Hopefully he's good, like 100, or at least close to 100%. You know, as much as he can be.
Yeah. So the last piece of news that I really have to really talk about here is that WWE this week announced a program called I forgot what it's called.
WWE ID.
ID. That's what I was gonna put DEI, but that would have been a whole different conversation. But WWE ID, and basically what it is it's a program that partners with professional wrestling schools, and helps wrestlers in training and indie guys have a pathway into WWE a lot easier than maybe a performance center or going out to another company, or just it just makes it easier for indie guys to get noticed and make it out of the indies. They're partnering with several different indie wrestling schools, and pro wrestling schools and indie wrestling organizations. And I think it's different areas, because that's really what's important when it comes to searching for talent. It comes to the point,
I finally got that comment.
It comes to the point where, like, Ricky Starks has even made and Keith Lee even talked about it too, because like Brian Keith actually talked about it as well. Take a state like Texas, for example. Texas is a huge state. It's hard for an indie guy to make it out of Texas. And you got to be really noticed to get out of Texas. Sammy's even talked about it. Basically everybody who's came up through Texas has talked about this. But the schools that are partnered with this right as of now, because there's probably going to be more added, is Booker T's Reality of Wrestling in Houston, which has already produced talent that you see that you see all the time now. Roxanne Perez in NXT, Athena, Brian Keith, Sammy Guevara, Indy Hartwell trained there, the Usos trained there. A bunch of talent came out of Booker School. Then there's Cody Rhodes' Nightmare Factory, which I don't even have to. A bunch of the AEW rosters from that school.
Seemingly half of it.
Especially in the beginning during the pandemic days. So obviously that makes a lot of sense, and that's based in Atlanta. Seth Rollins' Black and Brave Academy in Davenport, Iowa. The only notable person I know of to come out of that school that's made it as far as WWE is Nathan Frazier, who's one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions right now, and he is fantastic. That's based in Davenport, Iowa. Elite Pro Wrestling Training Center in Concord, New Hampshire. I am not familiar with that school. So the two last ones are part of the are a lot smaller than the previously, which they don't have any names attached to them like Rollins, Booker, or Cody. So that's why you don't really know. But Concord, New Hampshire, and then Knox X Pro Wrestling Academy in Los Angeles. That's another one I'm not familiar with, so that's pretty cool. But it's cool to have like a feeder system, and say if guys really, like, say if you're a wrestler and your main goal is to get to WWE, it's going to drive people to attend those schools, and it's going to help those schools. And hell, there might be talent that might have not gotten the chance, that might get a chance now through the system. So I think this is a great thing. I mean, AEW doesn't have something like this, but they let guys work in regular independent dates, and they have trust within those schools and those systems. So it's like they have it, but unofficially. The best example I could give is right in our backyard with Creative Pro Wrestling Academy, which is right down the road from us. I've been to many Creative Pro shows. I think it's one of the best, maybe the best wrestling school in the country, just based on getting quality talent and positions to succeed, whether that be on TV, on the indies, or something else. And that's obviously run by Brian Myers and Pat Buck out of Hicksville, Long Island. And I mean, just look at who they've produced. I mean, half the fucking AEW rosters there. You got MJF, who's probably their biggest success. You got Chris Statlander, who's on the show tonight. You have Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, the Acclaimed. You have Smart Mark Sterling. Yeah, that's right. You have Smart Mark Sterling. You have the Iron Savages came through there.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Iron Savages came through there. You had. I mean, you got a lot of guys that because I'm very familiar with the guys who are there right now, because I just go to the shows all the time. But you got, and they're a hot spot for guys on the indies that want to wrestle, because they just had Nick Nemeth there for a show. I wasn't able to get to it, but they just had Nick Nemeth there for a show. But when it comes to Long Island, like the top Long Island indie, that's pretty much what it is. it's a great lineup of guys that they have that have made it out of that promotion. They have a whole wall of graduates. There's a bunch of guys I can list off that haven't really made it out of the indies or are not really that hot on the indies that I can very well see happening sooner rather than later. And there's a whole cast of those guys down there in Creative Pro. Dante Drago, Jack Tomlinson, Gabby Forza, Bryce Donovan, Bobby Orlando, Aaron Rourke. I mean, the list, Vargas, the list goes on. I just want to pay shout out to Desmond Cole, bunch of guys down there that are just waiting for their spot because look what happens. Look what happens. A lot of people didn't know MJF before the AEW. A bunch of people didn't know Chris Statlander. The Acclaimed were still in Creative Pro when AEW first started. So I just want to give them a shout out and talk about that and just give credit to WWE because that's a great system they got in place there now, and I think that's a game changer for if you want to become a wrestler. But anyway,
I have my doubts just because I'm not trying to sound biased here, but just when they were like rating the indies like several years back, I mean they ended up like how many of those people that they rated actually stuck? It's like you could count on one hand.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, they have. I mean, it's really to get talent probably inside the performance center as well, which is obviously you could have your fair gripes with that, due to how that goes and how that system works down there, but they've produced, and that's all there really is to it. They've produced talent at an exceptional rate, and regardless of how you feel about that talent, it's still there. And look at some of the top talent in WWE, AEW, New Japan, etc. A lot of it was produced by programs like these and performance centers. But anyway, getting into the show now, we had the Fright Night Dynamite. Xi Jinping has joined us again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sirree. This is what I have written down in my notes. To start, they really opened the show with the promo commercial they've been using for a week or so.
Yeah, I mean it was fine, because I didn't see it.
I had nothing wrong with it, like the actual commercial, but I was just like, okay. Especially with how late the show ran, like, if I would have cut this out, just me personally.
I mean, they got that they got that beefy overrun, so I don't really mind.
Yeah, true. But if it was my decision, I would not have started off with this. I would have just jumped right to the next thing. I mean, it's only 30 seconds we're talking about, but that's just...
Yeah, I didn't really care. Especially because I didn't see it.
The only reason I saw it was because of... because I always watch back Collision and Rampage. So
yeah,
so
do I.
Just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I don't really miss one either, but it's like I
thought it was part of the
I might
show.
I might have peed during that. But anyway, we had what's it called? So to start the show, we had Orange
BCC vignette.
That's right.
Or so we thought.
Yep, and then Orange Cassidy put a stop to that shit. He's like, turn this shit off. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear it. And basically, Orange cuts this great promo about how he's not a leader. How he doesn't care about Mox and what he's doing because he's not a leader. He doesn't want to do this. But after what they did to Chuck Taylor, now he has to. He has to solve this himself. So he basically just talks about what Moxley's trying to do, and how how Mox doesn't care. Mox doesn't care about AEW. Mox doesn't care about AEW. Yeah, and he ends up challenging him to a world title match at Full Gear for the AEW world title, and he still doesn't have a catchphrase. So This is not the last time we'll see Orange tonight. We'll talk about the rest later. But after this, we had Mercedes in the back. She's
Walking
just
in with Camille.
yeah, just hyping up the match with Statlander later. And then we had our first match of the night, and it was the return match of Adam Cole, Bebe, versus Buddy Matthews of the House of Black. And this was a great, great match. I really enjoyed this match. It was a lot more storytelling than match, which is completely fine. And the way they told the story in the ring that's how I really love stuff. When they told the story in the ring, it was fucking great. Obviously the first things first was Adam's in there with a fucking machine of a human being like Buddy Matthews, and Adam he is learning basically how to not wrestle again, but he's favoring his ankle. He's being cautious of where he drops, and then he ends up.
I also, in the middle of this, really liked at the beginning of the match, Excalibur was basically talking about how he's wrestling in new boots.
Yes.
And that he's basically, did he train for months in those, or is he kind of adjusting to the fly with those?
Which is very. I'm very glad they did that because it was noticeable. His boots, he did have heeled boots on, which is, I mean, it's hard to notice because most wrestlers just have the flat boots, but he had like a heel on his boot, which you don't see a lot. It was noticeable when I started looking after they paid mention to that, which obviously whatever he has to do to be comfortable in the ring after the injury, I mean it makes perfect sense to me that he would wear something like that. But the story of the match was Adam Cole. He was favoring his ankle. When he would drop down to do stuff, he couldn't push off his ankle. He was really selling the ankle. Buddy Matthews was like taunting him and yelling at him, and like basically telling him he's fragile. He's like, "Where's the old Adam Cole? Where's the Adam Cole that did all this stuff in the past? Where's the Adam Cole that we all came to know and love?" But Adam Cole, he could barely jump off the rope. He could barely jump off the ring apron. But then. Like at least halfway into the match, which I was very happy that this happened, and hopefully this makes them push him more in a singles capacity as well, is that the crowd really started getting behind Buddy. They started cheering for Buddy Matthews. They didn't turn on Adam Cole. They just started cheering for Buddy Matthews as much as they were Adam Cole. So I thought that was very happy because a lot of people in the back hear that. And Buddy Matthews is a guy I've said since he was on 205 Live that he's one of the most underrated wrestlers in the world, and he still is.
Yes.
But yeah,
I feel like at this point he's more underappreciated than underrated.
See, that's the thing though. I still think he is underrated because he just doesn't get the amount of volume that a lot of people could. Because how many singles matches has Buddy had on television? It's not too many. It's usually trios matches. So in a singles capacity, I don't think he's really appreciated, or I think he's underappreciated, undervalued, and underrated. Because if you put this guy, I've always said this, if they sent the guy for the G1, a lot of people would say, "Oh, this guy." I'd say, "Hey, how about you go send Buddy Matthews?" I've always said, I remember when I was watching him versus Mustafa Ali in fucking 205 Live back in the day, and saying, hey, this guy would be it's a weird comparison because nobody compared to this guy, but his comparison to me is like, I could see him like not to getting to the heights that he did, obviously, but in the ring, like a Kenny Omega light, like the way he moves and how explosive he is. I think he would do well in a New Japan setting, and having a tour there, and how much better he would be. Because look how much better everyone gets if they go to a tour in Japan. Look at fucking Anna Jay. Anna Jay is 10 times better than she was when she went to Japan, and you got Will Ospreay even talking about it. But anyway, just back to the match. There was a point in the match where Adam Cole couldn't walk, so he was trying to get help to the back by Doc Samson. But Buddy grabbed the mic and says, "Hey, is this the new Adam Cole? When the going gets tough, you just go away." The new Adam Cole is a little bitch, and then Adam Cole didn't like that. He went back into the ring, and the near falls in this match were fantastic because there was certain parts in this match like, hey, they might just give this to Buddy. But they didn't. Adam Cole ends up hitting a couple of super kicks, the Panama Sunrise, and then the Boom, which was sold beautifully by Buddy Matthews. And Adam Cole defeats his first opponent on his 3-match streak, where he ends up facing MJF. After the match, they shook hands. Then the lights went out, and then when the lights came back on, Adam Cole was not shaking Buddy Matthews' hand anymore. He was shaking the hand of Malachi Black, basically saying that next week Adam Cole versus Malachi Black is happening, which basically cements to me that he has to go through the entire House of Black. That right there, very excited for the matches. Very excited for the matches. I'm not a fan of them doing that. I
had the same thought process.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the matches because he's gonna end up. I mean, his last fucking opponent is definitely gonna be Brody King now.
Yep.
But the House of Black is something that I've always said that has never been pushed as it should have. Malachi, I don't think has ever gotten a World Championship match. In my opinion, the House of Black, all three of them, should at least be in the international TNT title picture, and I would have had them push Malachi to the point where he was challenging for the world title. But
actually, out of the three of them, Brody's been pushed the best as a singles person.
Yeah, and that was the thing most shocking to me. I was not expecting, because I mean that was cemented last year when they put him in the Continental Classic by himself. Which I get why they did it, because they needed a bigger guy for that, for at least one of the big guys in that spot.
Are they gonna do that again?
Well, the Continental Classic.
Yeah.
That's what the Continental title's for. The Continental title. The Continental.
Hope so, because they haven't even mentioned it.
Well, it's not supposed to be now. It's supposed to be after Full Gear.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the Continental title's for. It's a ticket into the tournament. I mean, that's the entire purpose for the title. But yeah, they had there was not really anything after that. Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Oh yeah. So I'm not a fan of them having Adam Cole returning from 14 months on the shelf, immediately coming back and running through the House of Black. Listen, Adam Cole ain't no fucking scrub. He ain't no slouch. He's one of the bigger names in AEW, but still, I don't really like them running through the entire House of Black with a wounded man. It kind of makes them look weak. If they were gonna run through, if they were gonna have Adam Cole run through a heel faction, I mean, they could have found somebody else to do that with. I get it. They're probably the only ones open right now. I probably would have found somebody else. But Adam Cole, he is definitely gonna get to MJF, obviously, at the pay-per-view.
You want to know what I would have done if I was writing this storyline? I would have had MJF say, "You got to go through your boys."
Yeah.
Because that would have been a hell of a lot more
than
what the hell they did last week.
Yeah, but then they would have to at least do a thing where they would have to give them an excuse not to lay down for him. So that would need to be factored in. So fucking David doesn't go there. All right, pin me.
They probably could have. I mean, they probably could have easily did that.
Yeah.
Because that segment last week did not work.
Yeah. So. Anyway, after this we had.
Okay. Well, I mean, one certain aspect of it worked, and you and I both know what that was.
I'll be honest with you, Chief. I don't remember. I don't even remember what happened last week.
The massage segment.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So after this, we had Private Party in the back of Christopher Daniels, and Christopher Daniels was paying memory and giving a heads up to Private Party about what the match is going to be like tonight, because if they lost, they would have to split up. And he basically gave, hey, listen, when we did this with me and Frankie Kazarian, we lost, and it's never been the same, and he's not even here anymore. So you guys need to know what you're getting into. and they basically said we got it. After this, they had Adam Cole cut a promo in the back with the Undisputed Kingdom, and basically gave an explanation about everything with MJF. This was a hell of a promo. And
I wish this was way better than last.
Yeah. And Adam, he just basically talks on MJF, and then he says, Malachi, I'll see you next week. Then we had Kyle.
That promo literally just negated everything last week.
Yeah, that was so much better. That was so much better.
And I'm just like, why did they waste 10 minutes last week?
So after this, we had Don Callis and Kyle Fletcher come out to talk to Will Ospreay, who has been MIA.
And he's just like, Will Ospreay.
So he's been.
I'm just as disappointed. And I'm just like, oh, all right.
So Kyle, we haven't seen Will since the pay-per-view, and Kyle was trying to introduce Ospreay, even though he damn well knew he wasn't there. But then the Aussie Open music starts. I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, can I say it isn't so? But here comes.
I know you were hyped.
Yeah, here comes Mark Davis, who has been gone for a year. Yeah, gone for a year. Because his last match, he got hurt at Wrestle Dream last year. In that match with FTR.
Broken wrist, right?
Well, it was a broken wrist, but there was other stuff that was going on with him. So it was really nice to see Mark Davis again. That was one of the guys I was really kept quiet about, almost like how Kyle O'Reilly and Pac was when they were hurt, where you just didn't know what was happening. So there was no really update you could give until they're back when they're back. So Mark, very happy to see him back. Mark Davis comes out, and he basically tells Kyle, I don't even know who you are anymore. I can't even recognize you. And Kyle basically cuts him off and say, hey, listen, I knew this day was going to come when you were going to come back, and there's always a spot in the family for you. But then Mark comes back and says, we had a whole empire. We had a united empire, and then you fucking blew it all up.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then Mark, he ends up trying to walk off because, I mean, he tells him that Ospreay is our brother. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. But then Davis tries to walk off. Then Kyle basically tells him, "There's going to be a day where you come to realize you're gonna realize everything I'm saying and what's eventually going to happen." Basically alluding to the fact that he might have to turn on Ospreay as well. So with Davis back now, I don't know if he's medically cleared or anything like that. I mean, I assume so if he's back on television. But it was nice to see him again. I'm very happy that Aussie Open is back. And I think that will end up happening where Aussie Open as a team will be back together. That's not the end of Aussie Open as a team. So I'm very happy to see that and see Mark back and healthy. And hopefully we see them, wrestling each other and tagging together soon. After this, we had Hangman in the back. Cutting a promo on Jay White because Jay White called him out for a pay-per-view match at Full Gear, which has been confirmed, and he basically told Jay White that, listen, I'll kill you. And that's basically what he said. He said I'll kill you.
That was the gist of it. Yeah.
So he says, hey, what are you gonna do, shoot a double leg? So what I'm thinking is Hangman might end up bringing a firearm to the pay-per-view and shooting Jay White. That could be a prediction. It's a possibility.
Jesus Christ.
He could be brandishing a gun, or Jay White could stab him to death with a switchblade. I mean, that would be very on brand and in character for him. So we'll see where that goes. But this is a very good promo from Hangman. Hangman's been the most consistent wrestler in the company. Just with great shit over this past year, so nothing bad here.
He's been one of the more underrated promos over the last 3 years. His early stuff was okay, little shaky, but I mean, like you said, the last year or two, he's been money.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, after this, we had another vignette of Wheeler Yuta. Pac, Claudio.
Actually, no, that wasn't a vignette. That was
vignette. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
Live shot of Yuta, Claudio, Pac, Marina, and Moxley, walking towards the arena. In the back.
that was the setup going into commercial to set up their entrance.
Yeah, one thing about this though, I do want to pay mention to is that we finally might have a name for the group, because it's obviously not the Blackpool Combat Club. But Moxley, there was a report today that Moxley did trademark the name Death Riders. And I think that would be a fucking great name. That name is cool as shit. Which, I mean, it makes sense.
The Blackpool Combat Club was also really cool.
Yeah, and I mean it's a really cool name, and it makes sense because Moxley's finish is called the Death Rider. So it would make sense. And there's another thing that a lot of people are probably not thinking of that I immediately thought of, is that we talked about this 2 weeks ago on the show, that in New Japan right now, Shota Umino is being in the process of being turned on by the crowd, like how Cody was at the end of his AEW run, like how Roman Reigns was back in the day. That's what's going on with Shota Umino right now. But what does Shota Umino do during his entrance? What does he carry with him during his entrance? A jacket that Mox gave him when he was a young lion. What does the jacket say on it? Death Riders. So because New Japan, it's either there's the situation with Shota Umino in New Japan is that they're either going to copy what they did with Naito, send him away, and have him do another excursion and have him come back more popular than he is. But that would kind of, I think the crowd would already know about that because that's what they did with Naito. Or they could just do the smart thing and turn him heel. So if they turn Shota Umino heel by Wrestle Dynasty, they've already had. I mean, these guys are quite Moxley. I fucking put my life savings that Moxley's gonna be on that Wrestle Dynasty show. That he is gonna be in a match with Shota Umino or interact with him in some way where Shota is with him. He has a Death Riders jacket. So if they want to turn him heel, you have another guy in Japan right now on Shota Umino that would be with Moxley.
I mean, could they do a combination of both? You know, not exactly send him out for excursion, but send him out to be part of this storyline down the line? Because you know it's building to Blood and Guts.
Blood and Guts, I mean, that would be a ways away.
Hey, like I said, down the line.
Yeah, but Shota, right now, Shota, they still have to figure out what they're doing, because part of this, I mean, with the fan rebellion that's going on with him, we don't know who the main event of Wrestle Kingdom is going to be, and he's one of the contenders for him to be in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom against Zack Sabre Jr. I mean, it's either going to be him or Shingo, most likely. So I don't know. They have to, I mean, this is I can't really predict this because this has to be something that New Japan has to handle. Because I don't know if they want to try and they're gonna immediately notice this and turn them heel, or say keep trying to ham fist them and try to keep going where they want to go with him as a babyface. But we'll see. I mean, that's a complete monkey wrench. But when it comes time for Wrestle Dynasty, he's quite obviously going to be involved in some way with Moxley. So as a heel, that would make more sense, because he's already teamed with him. They've been together. They've wrestled each other. I mean, him and Moxley are fucking joined to the hip when it comes to Mox in New Japan. But yeah, after this, we had Moxley and his crew show up in the ring, and Moxley basically cut a promo on Orange Cassidy, telling him that, listen, you didn't challenge me, I challenged you when I stomped the chair on Chuck Taylor's neck. And listen,
he basically just stepped up.
Yeah, and he's like, I'll show you. He's like, I'll show you right now. And then he goes over to Pac and Claudio. He's like, and then Pac and Claudio then grab Wheeler Yuta, hold him to the ground. Wheeler has no idea what the fuck is happening. Marina's holding his head, and Mox ends up getting a chair. They're about to smash Wheeler in the fucking head, and here comes Orange Cassidy, which obviously this is what they were going for. Orange comes out. Him and Mox start fighting each other. Everyone starts beating up on Orange Cassidy. Wheeler's in the corner like, what the fuck just happened? But then Marina goes over to him, basically tells him, hey, this was a setup. We're sorry we didn't let you know, but this was a setup.
Yeah, he needed his reaction to be genuine.
To draw him out here. And then Wheeler, he understands, and he ends up jumping Orange Cassidy. But here comes the cavalry. Here comes Private Party, Daniel Garcia, the Dark Order. They all come in, Top Flight. They all come in to come help, and there's a huge, massive brawl. And once the once the Mox and his crew are out of the building, because they fought up all the way through the crowd. Once they're out, here comes the Young Bucks. To as conveniently when all this shit is over with. As it's ending. Yeah, they're
sorting itself out.
Yeah, they come out and they say, hey, now it's time for our tag team title match. And then Private Party was already out there. So.
Oh wait, I think Zach wanted us to say something. Oh yeah, we also forgot to mention fucking Darby came down from the fucking rafters during all this.
Well, oh yes, that's right.
Like literally.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what the fuck? Because I heard the crowd shriek, and the way Darby it looked like he was hanging. Like when you hang yourself, when your body's all limp like that, that's what it looked like. I'm like, I thought he hung himself, and then I'm like, holy shit! And there's Darby out. And
I'm kicked off the air real quick.
He starts fucking fighting with Claudio. He's still fucking attached to the goddamn hook.
And Alex Reynolds has to come over and fucking detach.
They had some. Claudio threw him through the table. I mean, the table was already broken, but Claudio threw him over the table. This was insanity from Darby Allin. I can't believe I forgot to mention that. But Darby...
this was... I loved how they did this, because even when he was halfway down, the crowd still had no fucking idea he was there.
Yeah, it's like...
It waited until he was like 10, 15 feet off the ground before people were like, oh, shit. He must have came down fast. I would have been shitting my pants at that point.
Yeah, so I'm like, Jesus Christ. I mean, this was insanity. I mean, this guy's a fucking nutcase. We all know this. But yeah, that was great. And then it went right into the tag team title match. This was the best match on the show. This match was fucking great. It was the Bucks versus Private Party for the AEW tag titles. If Private Party lost, they would have to split up. And going into the match, it was not a clear-cut fucking thing where if Private Party was going to win or not. It really wasn't. Like, I think it was as believable that they could potentially beat them and split them up. But the match...
There was always that part of me that's just like, do they really want to split them up now?
Yeah, that was my thing, because just depending on what they were going to do. But I thought this was fantastic. I thought the match...
This was very good.
The match was fucking incredible. Near Falls City, there was that one great spot with Okada, who when he gave Quen the tombstone on the stage. And right next to the tombstones, because he did it right next to the tombstones. He probably knew about that. He starts fucking. He's grinning. He's fucking smiling like a fucking asshole, and he's backing away like laughing. I'm like, this guy's a fucking. I mean,
all while the Young Bucks are distracting Rick Knox. Shocker.
Yeah. So yeah, but these. I mean, they're going back and forth. Isaiah's kicking out of everything, and then they try to go for the win that how they beat them on the second episode of Dynamite, but then Matt ended up hitting Nick off the turnbuckle, and then Private Party ends up hitting the gin and juice and pins the Young Bucks to become the new AEW Tag Team Champions. 5 years of hard work paying off, just like that comment says. And I couldn't be happier for these two. I did not think they were going to give it to him at the pay-per-view. And after that, I didn't think it was going to be... I thought it was going to be done, because they've been... I mean, the Outrunners... I've been saying the Outrunners are a good contender to take the top... be the tag champions later on. I even said it would be late or early on into next year. And that could still happen, because they're actually acknowledging on television now that now this is the path to start our road to the AEW tag titles. So I'm like, okay, all right, well, they're starting it like how I thought they would. But I had no problem with them giving them the Private Party in the meantime, because they could always, a heel team could always get them back. They don't have to have a long run like the Young Bucks did.
Yeah, that title reign dragged on a little too long, and that's mainly because they did nothing the first 4 months. But the other part of me that was just like, yeah, I don't think Private Party's losing is because they really seemed like they rushed this, and I'm just like, it probably would have, sown more doubt into my mind had they dragged this out to the pay-per-view. But the fact that it's just like, they did this on 1 week notice. I don't think they're losing. And then they did a very good job, as you said, in the match with all the near
I think I understand why they did it tonight. They needed a big attraction for this tonight. Obviously there was other stuff on tonight,
and it also sets up a rematch for the pay-per-view.
Yeah, which, to be honest, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. I don't think they're going to do that. Because they've already had 3 matches in the past.
Yeah, and also based on what happened in the show.
I don't think that's going to happen. If they even have a match on the show, which I think they could. If
they don't, you think they could do a number 1 contenders match on the show, or
they could.
Just a waste of a pay-per-view match?
They could do a non-title match. They could do a 6-man tag if they want. Because I'm pretty sure Garcia and Jack Perry is going to be on that show for the TNT title. But they could also do something with, I don't know who. Because Orange is already booked. So, they could do Darby and Private Party versus Yuta, Claudio, and Pac. Because Darby's not obviously in the title. He's not in the title match, so he wouldn't have anything to do on that show.
He's kind of involved in this whole new BCC storyline.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
It could be a 3-way tag, 4-way tag, maybe, because, Outrunners have been on fire.
I don't think they're going to...
They were also just pinned by Roosh and...
they're not... I don't...
Mortos or Roosh and Drilistico? I forgot.
Drilistico. I don't think any of them are going to... I don't think any of the Collision guys are going to be involved in this. I really think that... Because Darby... obviously he's not involved with the Young Bucks and stuff like that, but nobody's involved with the Young Bucks right now anymore. So it's going to be, I think it's safe to say, if they are on the show, it's going to be Pat, Claudio, and Yuta versus the Private Party and Darby. Because Darby is not in the title match, which I'm glad he isn't, because I always said he shouldn't be in it. Because the title match, when he has his title match is when he's going to win. So
most likely Revolution.
Yeah. Revolution, World's End, either war. World's End feels a little...
World's End feels like a little...
it feels a little early to me as well.
And if they drag this out until Double or Nothing, they're going to have to do a lot of convincing.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it's going to Double or Nothing. But I wouldn't be surprised if they have to go... Mox, it's going to be...
Yeah,
Mox... I really think Mox Orange, Mox Garcia. I think Garcia is going to happen because he's like the leader of the rebellion right now. And then maybe somebody else, and then Mox, Darby, or then just Orange, Garcia, and then Darby. But I don't know if Garcia is going to be the TNT champion by then. But anyway,
he might be.
Yeah. But anyway, Private Party are the new AEW Tag Champs. Very happy for them. They've been there since day one. They've busted their ass for fucking years in this company. They've earned it. They've gotten so much better, and I'm so glad they're not broken up, and I'm very happy for them as guys that came out of House of Glory, who I knew of even before AEW started. As this, I remember hearing about New York indie guys and saying, "Oh, this Private Party team everyone's raving about in House of Glory right now. I should probably check them out." And then they ended up in AEW, and now here we are. So I'm very happy for Zay and Quen. So great job, and great match with them.
Yes, 100%. I also just realized if they would have broke Private Party up, I would have just been like, where the fuck are they going with this tag division then?
Yeah, the tag division needed this. They needed a real jump start for the tag division because it's. It's obviously not what it was earlier. But this is a good way to get it back rolling because now they've replenished in the tag division. Like, you have the Bucks, you have the Private Party, you have FTR, Outrunners, Grizzled Young Vets, LFI.
I wish they would utilize Gates of Agony more.
Gates of Agony. You got, potentially Aussie Open back.
Ooh, yeah, maybe.
Possibly
Roosh and Dralistico.
Yeah, LFI.
Yeah, LFI.
Fucking. You got. They're jobbers, but the premier athletes.
Athletes suck.
But yeah, you got a bunch of the Guns, Top Flight, Dark Order. The Mox's crew.
Yeah,
Acclaimed. They got a bunch of tag teams that they can get with Undisputed Kingdom, all of them. But anyway, after this we had a vignette in the back, backstage segment, excuse me.
Well, yeah.
Between Penelope Ford.
Just made Mox and OC official for Full Gear.
But yeah, that and Penelope Ford and Jamie Hayter, which they built their match up for next week. Penelope had her first match back on Collision in 2 years, which was crazy. Because that's a big layoff. She looked good. She did look good. She didn't look like obviously she has to knock some ring rust off, but still, she didn't look anything to the point where it was embarrassing. She looked fine.
Right after this, they had a really cool Swerve versus Shelton Benjamin graphic, followed by a vignette hyping up their match.
Yeah.
And the graphic was just like, it was their height, their weight, where they're from, their accolades, and their signature moves. And I was just like, that's a new one.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually really liked that they put that there, because it ended up being a really good match. But we'll get back to that. After that, we had the Ladder War recap from last week, and we cut to the Learning Tree standing outside of the entrance tunnels. And I swear to God, the best part of this, the best part of this was fucking Brian Keith. Never underestimate Chris Jericho. You dumbasses.
Basically, what Jericho said is he's gonna make Ring of Honor great again. He did say that. He didn't say that, but that's basically what he said.
Also, we are in the era of the New Wave.
Yeah, so,
doesn't have the same ring to it as the Ocho.
Yeah, so he's gonna make Ring of Honor great again.
And they're obviously putting the title back on Mark Briscoe.
Yeah, this is exactly what the fuck I thought was gonna happen. They needed an attraction for the next Ring of Honor pay-per-view, whenever it is.
And was there ever any news about a potential TV deal?
No. And I don't think they would get. I don't think they're getting a TV deal. That was a theory that I broached when that popped up. But yeah,
that's kind of the first thing that came to everybody's mind.
Yeah, that's all this was. After this, we had Anna and Mariah vignette, because Anna and Mariah are gonna wrestle for the Women's World Championship. Online, they posted something. A lot of people missed. I'm shocked they didn't put this on television. But there was a great fucking. Everybody should go out of the way to see this. It was a great video package. Not video package. I don't even know what to call it. Between. It was called Where in the World is Tony Storm? And it was completely narrated by. It was like completely black and white, like an old 1940s news broadcast. Narrated by Tony, but like. It was not supposed to be Tony.
But I didn't get a chance to watch.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was basically recapping everything she's done since losing at Wembley. And it tells me that she's probably coming back soon, but it says, yeah, she went to Japan, she lost. She went to Mexico, she lost. She went to Australia to do the promotion. But yeah, it was fantastic. And it basically is teasing that she's coming back soon. So very excited for that.
They put it on TV next week.
They'll probably put on Collision or Rampage, because it was a longer vignette. It wasn't something. It was like a minute.
Yeah, and they obviously did not have the time.
Yeah.
To put it in the show tonight.
But after this, we had in the back we had Marvez looking for a scoop. Jack Perry's trying to get into the elite locker room.
Something funny. I actually, one of my friends from college is actually friends with Marvez.
Really?
Yeah, when he told me that, I was like, "Oh, get the hell out!" So That was a nice. Yeah, that was
Yeah, that's
cool. To
cool.
learn that.
But yeah, so what happened here was Jack Perry's trying to get into the elite locker room, but fucking Garcia's basically asking, "What the hell is that? You're gonna let that shit happen? You're gonna let that shit slide out there with Mox?" And then basically fucking
Door opens.
yeah, and then fucking well, basically Jack Perry tells him to fuck off, but Garcia holds him up against the wall.
Line? It's like you used to dance for me. Or
Yeah,
something?
he used to dance for me. But yeah, he's holding against the wall. Garcia lets him go, and then he gets right into the elite locker room. The Bucks are packing their shit up very quickly. Brandon Cutler is shredding documents. Okada's back there.
Brandon Cutler is shedding. Okay.
Shredding documents. Okada's back there. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. He's just chilling out. But we would know more about this later. Then after this, we had the women's match between Camille and Chris Statlander. And yeah, this was pretty good. This was Camille's like second real match. That wasn't a job match.
I thought this was better than the match last week
with Aminata. Yes.
Aminata.
But yeah, this is pretty good. Two of the bigger, stronger women they have in the division. But yeah, it was cool to see. I don't know why, but I was kind of surprised that Statlander won. But I'm like, wait a minute, she has to get. I'm about to say, yeah, she has to get to the pay-per-view. I like my brain when it comes to new talent. It's like the 6-month window of, all right, they're not going to be beaten. It's like, oh wait, fucking she's Camille, like she has to like lose for Statlander to get the title match anyway. But I'm like, okay, I just didn't think she was going to lose yet. But anyway,
not many people are Jay White. Him, like Okada and guys like that are
you gotta
blueprints for. They should not be losing whatsoever for 6 months.
But yeah. Anyway.
After this,
Statlander defeats Camille. Mercedes yells at Camille to get to the back. And smashes Statlander in the back of the head with the title, and says, "If you want something done right, you have to do it yourself." So basically, it's going to be Chris Statlander and Mercedes at Full Gear, which I think that's a hell of a match. That's a hell of a match. That should be a great match. After this, we had the Patriarchy.
This is shaping up to be a pretty damn good card.
Oh yeah, this is. Then we had the Patriarchy in the back with Kip Sabian. They showed a recap of what happened with him and Hook. And basically, all he said was, "All right, Hook, I'll see you next week if you want to talk."
Yeah, basically.
Then we had the conglomeration
in the back. Yeah, with the conglomeration. What was the word of the day?
I didn't know. I forgot.
I forgot too. Had some. Goddamn.
But Mark Briscoe challenged the Learning Tree to a fight without honor next week. So we're going to be getting a fight without honor next week between the Learning Tree and the conglomeration. Then after this, we had the Young Bucks
making a hasty retreat.
They were trying to get the fuck out of here. They were getting the fuck out. They lost their tag titles. They lost their leverage. And they don't want to have nothing to do with Jon Moxley and the boys and woman. But yeah, so they're loading up the car, and Christopher Daniel shows up, and he's like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing? We need you here. You're the bosses." And Matt basically tells them off. He says, like, "We didn't sign up for this shit.
This is too chaotic.
This is too chaotic. We're going to work from home." I don't know how the fuck that works.
So they drive off, and the camera goes down and pans up, and who do you see walking with a box and a whole bunch of shoes? Brandon Cutler. And I immediately thought, oh, poor Cutler.
Yeah, so
you knew what was about to fucking
happen. Here comes Mox and the gang. They beat the shit out of this guy. They hold his hand up to a forklift, and they smash his hand with a hammer. And Brandon Cutler is crying on the ground, and Mox and the boys walk off. So, yeah, sorry, Brandon.
Poor Cutler.
It happens.
It does.
But anyway, after this is time for the main event. We had Shelton Benjamin versus Swerve Strickland in his first match back from the steel cage match, and this was a great match. I mean, that's what I expected when I saw this. I mean, the fact that Shelton Benjamin is a 49-year-old man and he's working like this and he's in the shape that he is in, I mean, it is fantastic. I mean, he looks incredible. I mean, he is in some shape. He's in some shape at 49 years old.
That I will never be.
Him and fucking like Billy Gunn. Like the shape that they're in with their age is like crazy. I'm not saying like 49's old, but like for that age to be that in shape and working at a high level. I mean, that's...
Isn't Billy Gunn like 60 now?
Billy Gunn is like 50. Actually, no, yeah, he is 60.
He's 58, 59. Yeah, he may actually be 60. But he actually...
Billy Gunn's 60. Oh, yeah, he's 60.
And still legitimately competes in bodybuilding competitions.
Yeah, I mean, that's discipline, that's hard work, that's dedication, that's something that ain't nothing to sneeze at. But yeah.
Yeah, discipline is an understatement there.
So yeah, obviously Swerve had Nana out with him. Shelton had MVP out there with him.
Yeah, I feel like from when this match started up until 10 o'clock, they made an emphasis about Shelton Benjamin taking like 99% of the match, and then once they came back from picture-in-picture and then 10 o'clock hit, it was just like, all right, yeah, now these guys kicked it into second gear. Yeah,
I mean, if you watch AEW long enough, there's a pattern that you can tell when it comes to main events. That half of the match is heat, and then they wait till after the picture to start really going, ramping up, and that's what they did here. And the match turned out really well in the end. Swerve ended up hitting a swerve stomp for the victory. And after the match, MVP, he was like, you know what, it's time. So he gets his phone, he dials the phone, and I'm like, oh shit. Well, we all know who he's calling. So I thought they were gonna go off the air with that, and then we were gonna get what we got at the pay-per-view. However, the lights go out and then they come back on, which was kind of a little goof up, but it was fine. It didn't really ruin anything, because y'all knew it was coming. But the lights go out, they come back on, then the lights go out again, and then all of a sudden we hear some drum beats, which if you saw his latest WWE run, always at the start of his entrance music, Bobby had the bum bum, but like he would always have that. And then who comes out but none other than Bobby Lashley. And Bobby Lashley, he shows up. Bobby Lashley is all elite, as we all expected. And then here he comes. He hugs MVP. He gets in the ring. They start beating the shit out of Swerve and Nana. He starts... Bobby puts Swerve in the Hurt Lock. They fight off all the referees and the security. Shelton Benjamin fucking super kick one of these security guys into the fucking negative zone. I mean, this guy fucking kicked this guy into fucking, I don't know. This guy fucking bless up, but I mean, Jesus Christ, the guy, I mean, it was a great spot, but that he kicked that guy into the fucking Wonderland. But once Swerve was out, they laid him and Nana out. They started posing up, and then they went off the air with MVP saying into the microphone, what do you say? Guess who's back in business? Something like that. Let me see what he said.
That might actually have been what he said. But...
Yes, it was. So MVP stands there with Shelton and Bobby and says, "Guess who's back in business?" So we now have the Hurt Business in AEW, which was one of the great parts of WWE pandemic era that never really got the light of day in post pandemic WWE. But now they're going to be going as the Hurt Syndicate. And that's how they went off the air. And I thought this was great. I mean, Bobby Lashley's a big pickup for AEW. I mean, I think he's got a lot left to offer. He's a great talent. Very excited to see how this feud with Swerve, because I think that's I don't think people are giving that enough credit. That's a great match, Bobby Lashley and Swerve.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm very excited to see where that goes. So good stuff there, and I thought this was a very, very good show, much better than last
Yes.
week. But I expected
I
that.
actually thought last week's was pretty good.
I didn't like last week's show at all.
Hold on, let me.
Cause what it felt like to me is that it was a filler show for tonight, which is what and I expected a great show tonight because of last year,
Did I?
last week.
Note. Blah 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 blah. I liked last week's show for a lot of different reasons than tonight's show. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I mean there was great stuff on last week's show, but I think as a collective, as a show, it didn't really hit. But this was much better.
Show,
this was great.
Yeah, you had everything, literally everything, advancing a storyline. Like everything made sense.
Yeah, and we got big moments with the Private Party title win. You got a lot of advancements in stories. You had a major debut with Bobby Lashley. So very excited to see where they go here with the build for Full Gear.
Yeah, and I am hoping to be at that show. What about you?
I'm not going to fucking. You think I'm going all the way to New Jersey?
Yeah.
Part of me wants to when I saw that fucking big AJ match. Listen, I can't wait for. I'm not even joking with you. I cannot fucking wait for that fucking match. I swear to God, if they don't put the lights out and the Rizzler doesn't fucking show up and fucking punch QT Marshall in the nuts, I'm gonna be fucking pissed off. I want to see a goddamn Rizzler running. I'm very excited for the. I'm all in on the Costco guys. Love them. I'm not even. This is not sarcastic. This is not anything. I fucking love these guys, and the people were bitching and complaining. Some of the AEW fans listening are bitching and complaining. Oh my god, nigga, it's on. All right, I got to hold on. Fuck it, it's on the pre-show. Number one, it's on the pre-show. Number two, these three guys were on the fucking Jimmy Fallon promoting AEW 2 nights ago. You know how much people watch that late night show? That's gigantic promotion for AEW. All these people bitching, oh my god, I can't believe this. No, listen, I understand. I could understand, but listen, with young people, this is the hottest thing going right now. Cause and I know about it, so I'm the target demographic for this shit. So very excited.
Let me just clarify what I meant about last week's show. I liked it up until a certain point. Then I didn't like it. Then the main event hit.
But Bobby, just Sean Rossap just confirmed that Bobby Lashley is officially in AEW. They have signed him for about. They've had him signed for about the last month, which that usually is the case with AEW. Like they'll have somebody under contract, and then debut him like a month later. But anyway, rest of the week, you can go first.
Cop out answer. Private Party.
Nothing wrong with that. And I'll give mine to the debuting Bobby Lashley. Very excited to see him in AEW. Anyways, that was the show. We'll see y'all next Wednesday. Very good show. We'll see y'all next Wednesday for more AEW reviewage. Probably Zach will be back. Mike will probably be back. I'll probably be back unless somebody has to drop out for unforeseen circumstances. Because who knows? Life.
You never